Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Kevin Boris. I'm the editor of Thinking Highways magazine. Welcome to the Traffic Control Room's Best Practice webinar. Yes, I have decided to use the word webinar now after all this time. Webcast apparently has to include video. So I've given up. My crusade is over. It is a webinar. Welcome to it. Today you are going to hear from three experts in the field of best practice in traffic control rooms. Only two of us have currently joined us. We've got an issue with our third speaker who's trying to join us. That will happen very shortly. So you have to excuse our slides, which are now not in the order they were meant to be. But it's fine. You'll enjoy yourself. It's not going to spoil your enjoyment at all. Anyway, so I'll tell you who you're going to hear from. First of all, our regular co-presenter, Mr. Bob McQueen. Hi, Bob.
Oh, hi, Kevin. Maybe we could just explain to people why we're late in starting, that you spent too long in the makeup room before the event, yeah?
This is very true. Then I forgot that we weren't on a video. But and I must point out that some of you may have joined us on a regular basis, which thank you for doing that. An email flooded in after the last webinar in which someone said that that you and I, Bob, were wasting their time with our stupid jokes, and could we get to the point of the webinar a little quicker? So I apologise for that, Mum. But in future, we will just get more to the point and have that's next door's dog barking. That's fantastic. So wherever you are in the world, you can hear a dog barking in London. That's fantastic, isn't it? So presumably the guy who actually mows the grass around our office complex, he's just been out. So you've got all kinds of life going on, but just proves that it's live anyway. So Bob, thank you.
Anything worse than a stupid joke, Kevin? It's an extraneous dog in the background.
Yes, exactly. That's the best thing. Brady has joined us. Hi, Brady. That's great. Anyway, so I'll now introduce our other speakers. We have from Mitsubishi, Mr. John Calcagno. Hi, John.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us
Live
too.
from
And we have,
Florida.
yes, indeed. And we also have Dennis Newtonen from Actiview. From
Hello,
Tampa.
everyone.
Hi, thank you, Dennis. Also, we have, hopefully he can join us, Brady Bruce is joining us from California. Hi, Brady. Brady is there, but he can't speak at the moment. Brady will join us shortly. So as soon as I finish this, introducing everybody, I will get off the line and try and rescue. Brady's phone has gone green. Brady, can you join us now?
Yeah, sorry, I just had a bit of network problem, but I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Brady's joined us. Fantastic. So we're all here. So, marvellous. I can relax now. I can go and put next door's dog away. So,
I apologize.
No, it's technology. But it just proves this is the wonders of technology. We're all technologists. Well, you guys are technologists. I'm not. It's excellent. It's a good example of how we're talking about best practices. So, fantastic. Bob, I'm going to hand over to you. You can go through the talking points, and then, guys, you have 6-7 minutes per person to give us your presentations, and then we've got questions from the audience. So, attendees, there's over 100 people joined us. That's fantastic. Thank you for taking your time out. Please do send us questions. We can't read them all out, but at the end, the questions we don't get the chance to read out, we'll send to the speakers, and you'll get the answers back. And everyone, yes, you do get the slides. If we got permission from all the speakers, you do get the slides. So please make sure that one of your questions isn't, do we get the slides? Because yes, you do. We also are recording this to anyone who wants to hear the recording of it, to send it off to colleagues or to make presentations from it. You can, of course, do that as well. I'm now going to hand over to Bob and go and move this dog. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Good luck with the dog, and welcome everybody. We have a series of talking points that are on your screen now, talking about. I think the UK call these traffic control rooms. In the US, we might refer to them as traffic or transportation management centers. And some of the things we wanted the panelists to address would be what can we do to extend the reach of the control room to include all these beautiful mobile applications that are available these days? And is the traffic management center or a traffic control room just traffic, or is it regional transportation management? Who should be in the center? You know, it seems to me that we're looking at hardware, software, people, and data. So what kind of people should be in a control room in a traffic management center? How do we handle the workflow? Can it be dual use? Can it be a traffic management center during routine operations and switch over to an emergency management center in the event of a natural or man-made disaster? What's the best layout? How should we support performance management? What's the current practice on lighting for control rooms for most effective production? How should we fit a control room within a regional intelligent transportation system program? Does size matter, or could we have a control room in a box these days, or a mobile control room as an app? How can we measure the effectiveness of a control room? Do we need custom developed software, or is it all off the shelf these days? And you can read the rest for yourself. So yeah, we're hoping the panelists will address at least a few of these talking points. And as Kevin said, if anyone has questions, then please send them in, and we'll either address them during the webinar. I feel proud I'm able to say that now that Kevin's taken the embargo off that. And I think our first speaker is John from Mitsubishi. Is that right, Gareth? Or
it's Dennis. Dennis will be, yeah. There we go.
33.333% chance. Okay. Okay, Dennis Newtonen from ActiveView, and apparently he's over in Tampa, and I'm here in Orlando, so we can almost see each other today. Dennis, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. What I was hoping to do is just share a couple of thoughts about who ActiveView is and what we do, and how the ActiveView solution works, and then maybe just share a couple of thoughts on what we view as a paradigm shift in the technology and what is taking place in traffic management centers. First, I was going to just share a couple of thoughts about ActiveView and who we are and what we do. ActiveView is a software and services company, and we provide enterprise-wide visualization and collaboration solutions for the command and control environment. We don't provide solutions for movie theaters, digital signage for advertising, or stadiums, etc., or anything like that. For the past 30 years, we've been providing the large-scale visualization solutions exclusively for command and control environments. Our turnkey solutions are extensively deployed in traffic management centers, rail and transit command centers, airports and seaports, as well as very extensively also in public safety, law enforcement, emergency operation centers, power and utilities, security, as well as the Department of Defense and the intelligence community. Bob, can you move to the next slide, please? So what does actually ActiveView do, and how do we do it a little differently? We take a very different approach to providing the large-scale visualization and collaboration solutions for command and control environments. ActiveView is a software-based solution that is dead simple for the operators to use, and unlike legacy AV systems, the ActiveView software is actually an IP-based network-centric solution that is deployed on commercial off-the-shelf hardware. Our clients appreciate the ability to leverage the, shall we call, the engineering expertise and the R&D of the world-leading manufacturers like Dell, HP, IBM, NVIDIA, etc., and obviously the low-cost upgrade path and easy availability of parts and components that these hardware platforms offer. It's a solution really that our clients' IT department can manage like any other, running on hardware and operating systems that they already support, and configurable in-house without being captive to outside vendors, ActiveView, or anyone else for that matter. So how does the ActiveView solution actually work? In just a few words, the ActiveView visualization software, what it allows organizations to do is to effectively aggregate information from anywhere in the network or network, should you have a multi-network environment, regardless of disparate platforms or file formats, and visually integrate this on display walls, LCD panels, desktop PCs, laptops, mobile command centers, smartphones, tablets, literally virtually anywhere and with anyone who has the rights to access that information. Then that consolidated visual information can be assimilated, analyzed, and then shared person to person, team to team, display to display, or site to site for that matter, across the globe if required, to create a truly dynamic collaboration environment, obviously with the intent to lead to better decision making and more effective resource and asset coordination. The ActiveView's visualization tools really help traffic management centers and other command and control environments and organizations optimize their situational awareness, and our collaboration tools really help with the situational management. Collectively, these tools, really what they do is they enhance, shall we call it, intelligence gathering and the analysis, and enables more effective collaborative resource coordination and better decision making for incident and emergency resolution. Bob, could you move to the next slide, please? Oh, thank you. Thank you. You had done that. Nope, you already did that. One of the things that what we have seen, nope, one back. There we go. Thank you. Talking about the collaborative transportation ecosystem, as some of our clients and prospective clients have called it, we have experienced or seen a paradigm shift in the technology. 5 to 10 years ago, the primary objective of most, or I should say many, inclined to say most traffic management centers, was to be able to show camera feeds, ITS, ATMS, and mapping applications, and some cable TV stations on the display wall. After that was achieved, traffic management centers started asking for more dynamic software tools to aggregate the information from their networks and display information where and when they needed it in the TMC facility, as well as in the conference rooms. The next step in that evolution that we have seen was that traffic management centers wanted to be able to share information from the control room with personnel in the field using wireless laptops, tablets, and smartphones. This allowed the situational awareness to be extended visually beyond the confines of the TMC building. And then a natural extension to this capability was for field personnel to be able to send photos and recorded videos from, let's say, an accident scene or other incident in the field directly to the display wall in the TMC to provide that better situational awareness and situational understanding for all the TMC personnel. The biggest shift we've seen taking place in the last 18 to 24 months has been the requirement from TMCs to be able to share and collaborate in real time, emphasis in real time, the aggregated visual information with all the agencies that are responding to an incident or emergency, and whether that is a natural calamity or man-made event. This collaboration, according to several of our TMC clients and prospective clients, is really becoming an operational necessity in order to be able to effectively coordinate all of their resources and assets from all the responding agencies in the, let's call it the transportation ecosystem, to be able to respond to that incident and resolve it. This is now real-time situational management. And regardless of the agency or facility in the transportation ecosystem, the traffic management center, police, fire, EMS, hazmat, tow truck companies, emergency operations centers, all individually have information that it's extremely valuable to other members of that transportation ecosystem. In the past, this real-time electronic collaboration was not possible, or it was significantly impeded due to the fact that many of the agencies were on disparate systems. It wouldn't work. They couldn't collaborate. However, today, with lots of advances in technology, this is possible. And having that capability to effectively share and collaborate in real time on all that aggregated information from all the responding agencies, including software-based whiteboarding tools for all the visual information, can be a real game-changing technological shift to help resolve traffic incidents and other emergencies in a faster and a more safe manner. Bob, that's kind of what I wanted to share with the group at this point.
Thanks, Dennis. Excellent. Are you still there, Bob?
Yep, I'm here.
Bob's still there. Good.
Bob's here.
Dennis finished and took you by surprise. I just want to go.
I actually had myself on mute. I was talking to myself.
Ah, yeah, I've done that as well. I've got myself on mute so that everyone listening can't hear the dog or the guy cutting the grass. But it wasn't a dog; it was a very, very talented cat. So we're okay now. I'll stop now.
One can only imagine the other strange creatures that lurk around Wallington, but there we go. We'll move along now. Dennis, the ecosystem, does that also include like TV and stations and stuff like that who get a feed on the video, or is this purely for the public agencies?
Well, actually, I'm happy you bring that up because the ecosystem, I just used examples of some of the members, but really that really includes the public and the media as well, because the public obviously has a critical role in how they respond to whether it is rerouting of traffic or evacuations, depending on the severity of the incident. So absolutely, the public and media are part of that ecosystem.
Right. Got it. Cool. Okay, let's move on to the man from Jupiter. I see we even have a logo with Jupiter and the black spot or the dark spot on it. That's excellent. In fact, Kevin, maybe we could nickname the dog Spot just in honor of the man from Jupiter.
Indeed, thank you.
We could do that, yes. But
Yep.
I should let Brady treat that remark with the contempt it deserves.
Thank you very much. Yeah, slightly better than a stupid joke. Okay, Brady,
Yeah.
on you go.
Fantastic. I'm Brady Bruce. I'm Vice President of Marketing and Strategic Alliances for Jupiter Systems. And what I'm going to focus on today, we're going to look at some actual control rooms around the world, talk about the purposes they serve, who works in them, and best practices as I've been able to observe them. Next slide, please. There we go. This will be the only commercial I do for Jupiter Systems, then we'll move on to case studies. Jupiter is a venerated company. We've been around since 1982. We have thousands of installations in, actually at this point, well over 50 countries around the world. All of our products are engineered and built in the United States, and many of our products have already achieved FDOT TURL certification. Next slide. That's something there we go. I chose this room. This is the New Mexico Department of Transportation Center in Albuquerque. From this facility, NMDOT is managing more than 60,000 miles of the state's highways and other roads. What's interesting to me about this room is you'll notice this is nothing fancy. They moved into a standard bit of office space here. This was not, specially constructed for a traffic control center. We have drop ceilings and the other accoutrements of, standard building build out. But what they did here was they got as much video wall as their budget would allow them to do. Focus on pixels. Get as many displays up with as many views of the state's highways as possible. Although you don't see it in this particular view of the system, they're also bringing in lots of other data, volumetric data, traffic center sensor data, and they actually run many of these applications directly on the display wall instead of running them on PCs then feeding that to the display wall. In fact, that entire display wall serves both as a look at traffic conditions around the state and also as a Windows desktop. So any of the operators in this room can bring up different views depending on the wall segments they manage of both real-time visual information and volumetric data and applications. I should add also that this is one of those shared centers. There is on call in this room at any given time a representative from the police, fire, emergency, and towing services who, as incidents occur, are able to dispatch whatever emergency service is needed. Next slide. And any moment now, here it comes. This is the, as the title says, the New Zealand Transport Authority. This is in Auckland. And this is another room. It was not purpose-built to be a video room. There's no elaborate theater or staging here. They took standard office space and built it out. And again, here you'll see, they put in as many, you're only seeing about half the wall here. put as many displays up on the wall as possible, and of course these are connected to workstations on the desktops. And this is a fairly typical looking, in my travels around the world, a fairly typical looking traffic management center. They do all the things one would expect. There is a tight integration, I would say, however, with the country's meteorological bureau, and they're able to bring up information about emerging weather conditions, and of course push that and other information to electronic signs on the roadways. And they actually feed this information back into several places. Of course, there's the website where commuters can get information about the travel, but they also use this as a set for various news agencies. So there's actually a portion of this room that's allocated for traffic reporters so that they can stand with that information in the background of the wall as they report about traffic services. Those reporters are sort of walled off in a glass room, but it's very impressive looking to see. More than 200 camera feeds from roadways, tunnels, bridges are all brought into this room. Next, please. And we move to Turkey. This is the ACOM Center. ACOM is an acronym for Turkish words that I can't even begin to pronounce. But here in Istanbul, they've tied together the traffic management system along with all of the emergency response systems in this single facility. Here they took a rather large auditorium and converted it for the purposes of the traffic management center. It's a pretty big wall. This is 11 meters by 4. They've got 128 video feeds coming in. They've got continuous, as you see here, monitoring of 411 of the busiest intersections in the city. And they took great care here to make sure that they could display basically any view, whether it's traffic or volumetric data or applications, at very high resolutions. So they've architected this wall so that it's got an enormous number of pixels on it. In fact, 11,200 by 4,200. You can do the math. They can zoom in very tightly. Jupyter provides some really unmatched scaling so that you can take even low resolution images and stretch them across the wall and see very clearly what it is you're looking at, including even license plates and so on. Next slide. And here's the obligatory, oh my gosh, slide. I've shown you some, relatively normal size, non-steroidal display walls. Here's one of the big boys. This is in Beijing. This is where the city manages all of its traffic operations. This was originally built for the 2008 Olympics, and I should point out, I've been in this facility. If you walk down the hall, there's a room identical to this behind it. It's being used by the city police. But here's a gigantic wall, 98 displays. These are all 60-inch panels. They're bringing in information from 3,600 signals. There's 13 different city departments working in here. They're running at any given moment up to 20 different applications directly on the wall. That is, they're not running on PCs. They are part of the display wall itself. In here you would find that the traffic management department is coordinating with police, fire, ambulance, and disaster management. What you can't see from this view is, in fact, that one row of desks you see there sort of stretching into the horizon. There are 3 of those behind it, and then up behind that there's a giant gallery, 3 stories tall, with operators from different city departments looking down from behind glass onto this room and taking control as incidents require it. Next slide. So, I've shown you the pixels at the front of the room, the displays with information coming in. Here's another view of that same Beijing room. I put this one in because you can see the applications that are running on the wall, GIS and other traffic management SCADA applications running on the wall. But what I haven't talked about is the mobility aspect. Every time I've walked into a display wall room, a control room, I always ask, you know, is there anybody else who needs to see what's on this wall? And the answer, inevitably, is yes. Next slide, please. And as Dennis was talking about, mobility is a critically important part of many traffic control operations. So here I'm just showing you a schematic of our particular system called Canvas that allows all of the information coming in from cameras, from PCs running applications, from applications running directly on our Fusion Catalyst display wall processor, and the ability to share that so that anything that's seen on the video wall can also be seen and shared by people on their PCs, their smartphones, their tablets. And we think, you know, seeing it is a good first step. But what you really need to do, if you have an expert who's out of the room, if there's a disaster and you need a specific expert from the state capitol or somebody who's traveling and from your own department who's on the road, the thing you need to do is get them online, have them seeing the same thing you're seeing. You don't need to figure out where they are or what device they have in front of them. What you really just need to do is say, I need you to look at this, have them click on it, regardless of the device, and see it, and then be able to actually collaborate. We define collaboration as not just seeing the same thing, but actually problem solving. So in fact, in this environment, you can annotate. From the wall, you can annotate with the mouse. From the smartphones or tablets, you can annotate with your finger. And what you're doing here is actually annotating directly on top of live video as events unfold. You can also bring up a whiteboard, do some brainstorming, get real work done. Next slide. So I won't labor this next slide too much, but just to make the point again, collaboration is more than just seeing the same thing. It's really getting work done as though you're all in the same room. Next slide. And these are the last two. Having traveled quite a bit around the world and looked at a number, a dozen or more traffic management centers, these are my impressions. And what I believe to be best practices. These may not fit your situation. You may disagree, and I'd like to hear about that also. But here's my thought. Go as big as you can with the video wall. There is something special about a group of people being in the same room and seeing the same thing. As I said here, sometimes seeing the big picture means seeing a big picture. If you're going to splurge anywhere and cut back somewhere else, my basic recommendation is build the biggest video wall you can. Go cheap on the furniture, go cheap somewhere else, but get as many pixels up in front of you as you can do. The second point here is that there's lots of information that's really required to effectively manage these complex traffic systems. And you're all using that, right? It's the real-time video, the volumetric data, the applications that you're running. Get that up on the wall. Put it there. Our particular approach at Jupiter is, actually run those on the wall as opposed to running them on PCs and just feeding the output to the wall. But because operators have enough to do without driving an analytical system with their left hand and a video wall system with their right hand. If you can combine those two, and we'll come back to that, it's important. Third point, I often walk into traffic management centers, and it may just be my personality, but they look awfully neat. All of the feeds on the wall are confined one at a time to a display. It's not always the case. What I'm pleading for here is to let the operators choose the views they need at any given time. People have idiosyncratic ways of absorbing information and processing solutions. We provide the freedom for operators depending on what they're allowed to do, and there's various security systems built in here. But in their area, in their domain, expand views, overlap views, move bits of information into proximity with each other so that if I put that data feed next to that camera, I may be able to derive more information than possible. Next, please. I've made the first point here again, integrate, integrate, integrate. Put your applications on the wall. Try to reduce the number of systems that people are managing. I also think that you've got to really think about collaboration. In my observation, the best traffic management centers have users who are actually solving problems, working together collaboratively, marking up the same space, drawing on top of incidents as they occur, and using all the information that's available to them. And lastly, you've got to be able to extend all of those powers to remote users. But all the things I talked about, accessing both data, applications, and video in real time, should be extended to people on their mobile devices, on their laptops, their smartphones, their tablets, and the really excellent systems that I've seen all make that possible, because you never know when an incident is going to happen or where the expert manager you need to see it may be at any given point. With that, I'll pass the baton.
Thank you very
Brady,
much,
thanks very much indeed.
Brady.
Excellent. So can I just make a point there, Bob? Just to blow our own trumpet a bit, about 3 years ago, Brady, you wrote an article for us about the Beijing installation, which,
yes,
unsurprisingly, the audience, I'm sure, will guess that we called the article "The Great Wall of China." It was just completely unavoidable. We couldn't avoid it. You just had to do that. Sorry, I just thought I'd mention that, blow my own trumpet every now and again. Thank you.
Cool. So is that, in fact, is the Beijing Traffic Management Center the largest one on the planet?
No, in fact, it's not. There are facilities now that are even larger than that.
Wow.
You know, that had just shy of 100 displays in the wall. We've now participated in facilities that have close to 200.
Fantastic.
Oh.
But again, you know, in our industry, we often make a fetish out of the display wall itself because it's magnificent, it's fantastic, and you got a lot of people looking at it. But you know, one should be just as excited about getting that information on their smartphone or their tablet.
All right. It's not really quite as impressive, though, is it?
Well.
I think John from Mitsubishi is going to be completely delighted that you're saying things like buy as many pixels as you can and displays are the most important thing.
Absolutely.
John, I don't think we could have prepped a way better for you than what we've done.
You owe me $20, John.
Yeah, you got it, Brady. And I have nothing else to say. So, any questions? No, I'm kidding. Yes, I'm John with Mitsubishi. I'm from the Data Wall Division, or Command and Control Division of Mitsubishi. And I just put together a few slides. Our piece of the puzzle has already, as we've discussed, been kind of brought into light through my two friends here, Brady and Dennis. And so we provide the display portion at Mitsubishi, and we've been doing it for a long time, and we've got some, again, these large installations all over the world. We've got everything from a 2x2 size up to these large, I know there's a 200 cube display in the Tokyo Police Department. So that's where we are. I just put just a few little stats up there on this slide. You can see the mullion size, because some of the things that people question at this point in this day and age is whether they go cube or flat panel display technology when they're designing their command center. And there are plus and minuses to both technologies. Cube technology, we always like to push the fact that it's more robustly built and constructed and is better capable of handling a 24/7 environment. The LCD panels, although as they are progressively getting better and the mullions between panels are getting narrower, there are still times when in a 24/7, 365 environment, you can actually burn an image into the face of the display. It takes some time, and people don't normally catch that till maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years down the road, they start seeing it, and then you start replacing pieces to the puzzle, and that can get costly. The cube technology is more expensive is probably the biggest negative, but they will run 24/7, 365 for close to 10 years with basically no intervention apart from some extraneous failure that may pop up. And what makes that possible these days is the LED light source technology. In the past, cube technology has been all lamp-driven projectors, and that's always been a downside to this technology. People invest a lot of money and they have to change lamps. Becomes costly over the life of the system. With LED light source, these things will run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for almost 10 years without changing the light source. And because of LED technology, the power consumption, the heat that you have to worry about dissipating in these rooms when you're designing your room is considerably less than it used to be, and those factors are not so critical as they once were. And that's huge as we all try to go green with our ways of thinking and designing everything in a building. Command and control centers in the past used to have huge air conditioning systems that resided behind the display wall to keep everything cool and running. Now they're pretty basic systems that keep all the control center relatively cool, like you would any computer or phone system office space. We can go on to the next slide. I just wanted to throw down some things to consider, and it's screen size. We, as Brady and Dennis both mentioned, and we, just for audience's sake, we work on projects with both Jupiter and ActiveView are partners of ours. We collaborate often on projects, and it does come down to pixels. It comes down to the size of the display. Sometimes to get more pixels in a smaller space, we use the smaller 50-inch cubes. And there was an installation at one of the Department of Transportation that had a large enough wall where we actually used the 80-inch diagonal displays, which are large cubes. And again, your viewing distance, and this kind of gets back into the layout and construction portion of your command center. You can go with the larger cubes. You can go with lower resolution, even if your viewing your operators are at a far enough distance. So that comes into play. And you'll see now, I've got a couple of slides coming up. You'll see some pictures of some more command centers. But this is what we're typically talking about these days. And as you see at the bottom, the LED light source will run right now. We're saying 80,000 hours in my slide because we're not out in the press yet, but I believe at the big trade show we have next month, I think I'm pretty sure that number is going to go up to 100,000 hours of lifetime on an LED light source. So getting more and more cost effective as technology progresses. Next slide, please. So beside the cubes, as I mentioned, we also have LCD flat panel displays. I think most everybody probably knows that there's been a misnomer that's been circulated by the consumer television industry that people like to say LED displays. So the displays are actually LCD flat panels with LED backlight. And ours are a little different than some of the competitors because of the way we backlight them with LED array of lights behind the panel, so you get an even brightness and color from edge to edge, top to bottom, for each panel. The mullions between panels, as you see on the specs, a little thicker than double the thickness, or actually a little more than double of a cube. So you're getting a little bit further spacing, but the price point for panel is lower than a cube price. And they're all running 1920 by 1080 resolution, so you get a lot of pixels, a lot of bang for your buck when you go with an LCD flat panel. Again, the only caveat I'd like to bring up is just the potential burn-in risk for a 24/7, 365 environment. I really like to steer people towards cubes because I don't want to get the angry phone calls 2 years from now when their logo or the Weather Channel logo is permanently burned into the face of the LCD panel. One point I forgot to bring up on when I was talking about light sources and cubes, and with everybody going green and with the expense of changing lamps driving people insane these days to keep their costs down, we've actually developed a program that we're announcing next month where we have the ability to go back in to people who have lamp-based cube technology, and we can actually go back in and replace the projection portion of that display with an LED light source-based system. So thereby removing the need for a complete deconstruction of the wall, and actually you can raise your resolution, go with a fresh, brighter, high contrast ratio, LED-driven system in its place, and yes, for a fraction of the cost of what it would take to replace a whole display wall. So I just wanted to make a side note on that. Next slide, please. Yeah, I've got a couple application shots of some typical. Again, this kind of ties in with some of Brady's images as well. Some more basic system, and again, it is all about the information being up on the screen, as well as what each operator has at their disposal at their workstation. And you can see how many monitors each one of these guys has at his station, and a wheelchair so they can spin and slide from place to place. Next slide, please. And I put this slide in because this kind of ties in with talking about tours. And a lot of the transportation centers, and this is actually a utility center, and some of the images up there you see are camera feeds for security cameras. But you can see in the foreground a glass system, because this facility often has tours come through, because it is a bragging point. And I've seen it lots with Department of Transportations. I've seen it at utilities. You like to bring the tour through. You don't want to disturb your workers. They're all at their stations. They all have their jobs to do. But everybody likes it. When they've got one of these systems in place, there's nothing more than being able to show off how you spent that money that was allocated to your project. So I wanted to include that. Next slide, please. And it's just contact information. The person that is actually you'd ask any further questions to would be a man named David Jones. He wasn't able to make the webinar today, so I filled in for him, but there's his contact information. And it will be included in the slides I was promised, right? And so anyone has any questions, you can forward them to David or myself. But, well, obviously his contact information is there in front of you. So that's about it. I thank you for your time, and that's what we do here at Mitsubishi.
Great, thanks, John. How do you figure out how many pixels you need? Does somebody stand at the back of the room and say, "Yeah, I can see that"? No, I can't see that.
We actually do have our engineers actually do have formulas. They like to get a drawing of the room layout, and they ask the person where they are planning to put their operators, and that actually helps decide not only resolution, but it actually helps decide the surface of the screen, because in a lot of these applications, the screens, the large data walls are curved, and we have 3 various screen surfaces to channel the light towards the viewer's eyes. So we look at the positioning of each operator, the distance from the screen, and their position relative to the screen, and that actually have a formula to calculate resolution as well as the screen material, so that your offset viewing angle, you can still, the person on the far left of the room can see the far right edge of the screen and still read the information on that, and vice versa. Of course, the person or people who sit in the center of the room, they have the easiest, best seats in the house.
And I guess this is a question for all the panelists at this point, but do you guys get involved in making recommendations on cameras that will provide the feeds for the displays? I mean, I'm assuming that you have to be careful to match the quality of the camera to the quality of the display.
This is Brady from Jupiter. We really, our position is to remain agnostic with respect to those inputs. There's so many good cameras available in different countries around the world. You know, we support both standard definition and high definition, and we're certainly seeing the move globally to move to full 1080p camera inputs. And you know, if those can be fit into the budget, it's where most departments are going.
Okay. Then if I could also ask you all collectively about power consumption. I remember being in a traffic management center once, and I thought I was going to get a suntan from the display, from some of the heat coming from it. What's the deal with the latest technologies?
Well, yeah, it's, I don't have any figures in front of me exactly, but it's, I want to say in the magnitude of 50% less than it was back then, but I don't have exact numbers. It, again, with LED technology, and we have different manufacturers have various ways of cooling their systems, their displays. So we use air cooling, and we use electronic Peltier devices for cooling to help that. So it keeps it quiet. Our fans are quiet, and it's quiet and heat are the 2 things that were always. These display walls used to be very loud back in the day with the old lamp-based systems, and even prior to that, the CRT-based cubes, going for those of us old enough to remember that technology.
I can remember that, yeah.
So, yeah. So,
and your upgrade,
a lot easier to do. Sorry?
Your upgrade to LED, is that a plug-and-play thing where you just kind of unscrew a bulb and screw in a different light source, or is it a bit more complicated than that?
It's the whole complete projection system inside.
Okay.
So it's not just the replacing the bulb. It's because technology has changed so much, and that's why people that may have had older systems that might have been 640 by 480 resolution or 800 by 600 resolution can complete 2 tasks with one move. They can jump to an LED-based system and also increase their resolution to maybe 1080p or 1400 by 1050. So it's a double bonus when they go up to when they take the upgrade.
Excellent. And let me kind of push you guys a little bit. What's the worst thing you've ever seen in a traffic control room, and what's the best thing?
I would say, this is Dennis with ActiveView. I was visiting a traffic management center in Canada. I won't say which city, and they were actually viewing 184 simultaneous camera feeds on 13-inch monitors that had probably about a 3-inch bezel on each of them, and they were viewing them from about 25 feet away. And I asked the operators while the manager was there that what they were watching, and the 3 operators said that they're watching the traffic movement to make certain that they're picking up on any traffic slowdowns, congestion, and things like that. And I was just puzzled because I was standing at the same distance as they were. And then when the supervisor left, the traffic management center supervisor left, I just couldn't stop myself from asking them again that what exactly are you seeing from the distance on these 13-inch monitors. I asked them, what are you actually seeing? And they all burst into laughter, and they said, not much. He said, it's so small they can hardly see it. So it's one of those things that sometimes traffic management centers try to push so many simultaneous camera feeds onto a display, and by doing that, they make each display so small that the operator simply cannot maintain situational awareness by viewing so many small camera feeds. And to me, I thought that was a very, very poor arrangement and deployment of technology.
I thought you were going to tell me that Canadians have better eyesight than Americans, but obviously that's not the case. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the worst thing you'd seen was a Celine Dion concert.
I remember in 1984 seeing the Los Angeles Traffic Management Center, the Freeway Management Center, before the Olympics, and they didn't have live video feeds, but they had 3 different colored lights on each sensor, a green one, a yellow one, and a red one to represent traffic conditions. And the operators were so familiar with the system that they could detect there was something wrong with the pattern of lights just by intuition, which I thought was interesting.
I would say one of the better, again, this is Dennis with Activate, one of the better examples that I have seen in not only deploying technology, collaboration, and everything else, but also creating creating an environment that was very conducive to the different agencies working more effectively together, which was at the New Jersey Statewide Traffic Management Center, which consists of the New Jersey DOT as well as the, and I'm going to use the wrong term, but they're toll highways, as well as the Highway Patrol. And they're actually, not only are they all housed in the same facility, but they're actually organized into different pods based on regions and areas that they're covering. And I feel that co-location has gone beyond just having multiple agencies sharing a facility, but now they are actually, that physical proximity with the pods undoubtedly builds that political equity, friendship, and momentum for better collaboration when faced with that incident or emergency.
Yep.
Can I jump in, Bob?
No.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
it's a question based on your saying multiple agencies using the same facility. In 2008, the ITS World Congress, I got taken to Traffic Control Center, New York Police Department, that they share with New York City. New York Police Department Control Center was pretty much like some of the pictures Brady was showing. But new carpet, new workstations, a huge, I think it was 40 giant screens. Everyone looked very happy. It was very smart. It smelled of new carpet. It had just been painted. It looked really, really nice. Then they said, right, now come and see what New York City have to deal with. Prepare for something different. And I presumed it could be even better. Went into this room, and basically the whole of it was inside a closet. It was the smallest room I've ever been in, with 60 people. And then Manhattan was like an old-fashioned map with every intersection had a bulb on it. If it was red, if the bulb was lit, then there was congestion. If it wasn't lit, it either meant there was no congestion or the bulb wasn't working. That's what the guy said. So is that common, where you've got multi-agencies using the same facility, where they actually have different rooms and different sort of, literally different facilities within the same unit?
I mean, this is Dennis with Activate. I mean, the co-location of multiple agencies in one facility has definitely increased in popularity. I mean, the agencies that we see most commonly sharing facilities with the TMC are 911 dispatch for police, fire, and EMS, and a local regional emergency operations center. And obviously the trend in and the importance of information sharing has been on the rise for the year, and I believe it's going to become more and more critical in the operations. However, agencies that do not share a facility are not necessarily at a disadvantage with today's technologies, because all the responding agencies, despite being at separate facilities, can still collaborate in real time with shared sources with current technology. But I think if the opportunity avails itself for multiple agencies to be able to co-locate, there's definite advantages beyond the technological collaboration and just being physically housed in the same location, but just the personal relationships and the friendships and the kind of the political equity that can be built. I think that is one of the biggest paybacks from having a co-location. But again, I want to make the point that the agencies that do not share a facility are not necessarily at disadvantage because of technologies available today that will allow them to collaborate in real time with all the responding agencies.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. We've got a huge amount of time left. Bob, can I just...
Got a question?
We haven't got much time left. We do have some audience or attendee questions. So, Gareth, do you want to ask? I think this question is probably going to be for John.
Yeah, the question comes from Hank Singh, and it is a solid-state hard drive worth considering in a control room server?
John, do you want to take that one?
I don't know if that would be me. I don't...
Well, I
Okay.
can take that.
Go on, Brady.
So,
yeah, Brady.
so in the, by control room server, we're probably talking about the display wall controller. And my answer is an emphatic yes. In fact, your display wall controller should have an operating system on it, as I said. Ours are built with Windows 7 currently in them. And so on that hard drive, I can run applications just the way I do on my PC, but it is the wall itself. So that in fact the whole wall, in truth, is a Windows desktop with high resolution displays on top of it. So accessing data in real time, being able to process it in real time, analyze it in real time, and see the video on the same surface is a great thing.
Hank, I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Brady. Anybody else want to have anything different to say about that? That's pretty emphatic. But
No, I'd just like to give you my personal experience. I've replaced two of my hard drives on my computers here in the office with solid-state disks, and it's a complete eye-opener in terms of performance improvement. I mean, it's nearly as fast as an Apple.
yes, I'm talking to you via my Mac, so I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Have we got any more questions, Gareth?
Explains the Scottish.
Yes.
No, we haven't.
Any more questions? If not, then
No.
then I'm sure. I think no.
No.
Well, guys, you must have answered everyone's questions before they even had the chance to answer them. But Bob, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Would you like to jump in with your final point before we wrap up?
Well, I had a couple of points, but one of them was obviously the reason why you have a Scottish accent is because you're using a Mac. But that's I think that falls into the stupid joke category. I'm sure we'll get.
The person who emailed last time about our jokes is actually listening still. So another email will flood in.
Absolutely. Well, no such thing as bad publicity, right?
No, absolutely not. No.
I think this has been an excellent overview of traffic management centers. The point I wanted to make is I know of at least one American city where they decided to build the traffic management center, first of all, as a way of forcing people to get together and cooperate. So, it could go both ways. You could find the need to collaborate and co-locate first of all and then build a facility, but sometimes you build it and then they will come.
Well, a good way to finish, Bob. That was genius. So, unfortunately, that's the end of our allotted time. So, thank you, Bob, for your usual marvellous interjections. Thank you also to Brady Bruce and Dennis Newtonen and John Calcagno. Thanks, Gareth, for manning the questions and the slides. My name is Kevin Boris, editor of Thinking Highways magazine. If you don't receive the magazine, which you probably should do, that's how you got to hear about this, but if you don't, do go online, thinkinghighways.com. Now, we have the next one is already booked 30th of May, exactly 2 weeks' time. However, it'll be 3 hours earlier, 4 p.m. for me, which is nice, 5 p.m. in Europe, or that is 11 a.m. on the East Coast. Pacific time, however, 8 a.m. It's a bit early, but we do record it. You can, of course, register and then not attend. You'll get the recording and you'll get the slides. That is about machine vision. And we've got 4 excellent speakers. We've got Frank Long from JAI, Eddie Vermeulen from FLIR, which used to be Trafficon, now FLIR. I'll have to ask him how you pronounce FLIR, because to me it's forward looking infrared from my military days, but FLIR. We have Eric Toffat from CityLog and Jim Kennedy from Inex Zamir. So that promises to be another interesting one. Guys, thanks so much indeed for your time. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Gareth. Everyone who stayed online, thank you very much indeed. And speakers, don't forget that as soon as we finish this, everyone can still hear you. So be kind. We got caught up on the second one, and someone keyed in.
So
saying,
we need to still hold off on the off-color humor.
Yes, just hold off on those. That's why our jokes are so bad, because they're the cleanest ones we know.
Yeah.
So,
Analogies and innuendos are okay though, right?
they're fine, yes, because you can't prove those, so that's fine. So, audience, thanks so much indeed for your time. Thanks for sending your question. And this is the first time that no one's asked, do we get the slides? So you're learning, you're certainly picking up on our vibes. Thanks so much indeed, and hopefully you'll hear us on the 30th of May in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, and goodbye.
Right.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.